For most of us women, it will be nearly impossible to go against these pervasive, harmful societal norms and beliefs if we are still bound tight in the straitjacket of conditioned people pleasing. If we are going to be strong and courageous to face and fight these vampires sucking our lifeblood, we will need tools to stop the incessant compulsion of people pleasing. As I did with my healing from rape, I will take you through my process to heal from the core wounds that drive my people pleasing behaviors. As I recognize the behaviors that stem from these core wounds, I use the processes to heal them. I feel the shift inside of me. I am stronger, more relaxed, less anxious, at peace, and more determined. This step-by-step process allows me to recognize the behaviors, reveal the false source belief, and transform it. When learning something new, I find it helpful to see an example. Okay, once again, I will use my private journal of when I did this healing, both to demonstrate and so you will not feel alone or ashamed when these thoughts or emotions come up for you. Why we become people pleasers. People pleasing comes from relatively few sources. Most of us who do it are afraid of abandonment, rejection, or sometimes, as in my case, attack, humiliation, and fear of harm or death. Sometimes these fears come from our actual experiences. However, some fears are only experienced in our imaginations. I've learned that we cannot accurately measure the severity of the ongoing impact on a person by the severity of the experience itself. We all experience things differently because of our different mental composition. I believe the long-term intensity and impact of trauma also greatly depends on the tools we use as children to aid our resilience in the moment or immediately following a painful experience. This is why it is critical to teach children some specific techniques to help them process these intense emotions and bounce back after difficult experiences. I talk about some of these tools in Chapter 9. For people like myself who have experienced physical attacks, sexual assault, and corporal punishment, we can use specific healing and mental rewiring exercises to help us transform these experiences so they do not drive our current behavior. For me, the threat of being kicked out of the tribe or excommunicated from our family community was real and terrifying, as we didn't have the means or connections to support ourselves outside of the community. I experienced what it was like to be cut out of the tribe at 12 years old, as a 12-year-old, when my mother and father were separated for a year and a half. My mom, baby brother, and 3-year-old sister and I were sent to live in the US. Consequently, we were cut off from the communal support system we had grown up with. Although my mother is a highly intelligent woman, she had dropped out of the educational system as part of the Woodstock generation and then joined a religious organization as an overseas missionary. At 12, I had to step up as the other adult in the family, responsible for caring for my baby brother and toddler sister. We struggled to survive and support ourselves as home missionaries, which is what we were saying, calling ourselves, talking about Jesus to people in parking lots and selling music cassettes for donations for our quote unquote volunteer work. I mean, we were calling it volunteer work, but really we were just trying to survive and support ourselves. My grandmother turned over a couple $1,000s of an inheritance to buy a small motorhome so we'd have a roof over our heads as we traveled. We ate boxes of 99-cent mac and cheese. I remember counting quarters and dimes, hoping we'd have enough to pay for a campground spot for the night. This left a vivid impression of me, of the insecurity of life well below the poverty line. Eventually, grandmother took us all in for a few months. Us kids enrolled in school, and my mom took a low-paid job in telephone sales. It was a short reprieve, and I dreaded when we would have to go back out on our own. I had mixed feelings when my father finally came to the US and took us all back to our farm community in Asia, but the feeling of relief was strongest. You might have a story of struggle. or perhaps you experienced or vividly imagined, which can be almost as bad. Being kicked out of your group of friends at school, or your church, or your sports team. Perhaps you even developed fears and defense mechanisms to protect yourself. For many of us, this default defense mechanism of people pleasing is rooted in a childhood experience of abandonment and fear. With childhood traumas, it matters less what really happened, but rather how your child mind interpreted what happened. When I was a few months old, my mother left me with strangers, but I experienced these relatively short intervals as abandonment. It felt as strong as a betrayal. Even though I was cared for by my teachers and my father was present, though not active in my care, he never really took care of us, when we were young, but he was around generally to kind of. For you, the feeling of abandonment may have been caused by the death of a parent, their absence, being in foster care, or their divorce, or any number of other scenarios. Even if you do not consciously remember experiencing a specific trauma because it happened as a baby, the experience can have a strong impact on how you view the world and your place in it. Until a few years ago, I was not aware of any emotion around this early experience of my mother leaving when I was a few months old. I only knew her description of the incident. I participated in a regression-style healing process that took me back into that memory and how I experienced it as a baby. I was shocked at how much rage, hatred, and hurt surged up while re-experiencing those weeks of my early life. But remembering allowed me to finally deal with it and see the patterns it had created in my life that I had been completely unaware of. The fear of abandonment continued to hurt me as well as my relations with others until I was able to purge it through the healing process I share in this guide. If you see the effects and behaviors of trauma in your adult life, especially the strong tendency toward people-pleasing, often based in conscious or subconscious fear or anxiety, but you cannot remember how it got coded into your brain or why you act to protect yourself. If you can't understand why you seem to sabotage your relationships, your goals, or your business, you can simply assume there was a specific traumatic event that triggers these reactions and behaviors. If you know there was an origin story, but can't remember it specifically, you can do this healing process simply by accessing and describing the feelings that come up. You may even unearth the actual event from your subconscious as you go through this process. But whether you remember it specifically or just access your feelings, you can heal from it. To begin, I use the same trauma release process that I described in Chapter 5. It is a very good healing process to start with, to dig into what actions I've been engaging in as part of this fear of abandonment, and how the fear and associated defense mechanisms were affecting my life in the present and holding me back from the life goals and business goals I wanted to build. This process, this exercise is called Write a Letter to the Person Who Hurt You, but don't send it, okay? There are 4 parts to this letter. In the first part, write a letter to the person who hurt you. Describe what actions they did and how their actions made you feel. This first part is just for you alone, to express and validate your emotion. Don't send it to the person. Remember, the point of the first part of this exercise is to express the emotions that you felt at the time it happened and to describe how it affected you in the past and still affects you to this day. It is not a time to be fair or accurate or nice. Express the raw pain. By allowing the negative emotions to come up and feel them fully, you can then release them. They don't have to remain buried where they continue to poison your experience of life. Emotions are not a truth. They are created or triggered. They come and go. You can feel hate and anger one moment and then feel love and happiness the next, depending on what you are focused on. Allow them to surface. So allow these emotions to surface. It might take 5 minutes or 20 minutes. Go as deep and dark as you need, but don't wallow for hours. In part 2, you will take back your power. In part 3, you recognize the specific ways you've compromised yourself because of these false beliefs. In part 4, write your new empowered actions that you are committing to. Part 1 of the letter, describe the experience and its impact. So this is the letter that I wrote to my mother about what happened. You were my mom and you left me with strangers. I didn't understand. I had been loved and cared for, cuddled, fed, held at night. Then life was cold and alone. You were gone. I cried and you didn't come. I hated you. I hated you for leaving me, for the cold and pain. I didn't have a chance. I didn't know why. Here, then gone. I wanted someone to take care of me, familiar, loving, and warm. I became cold. I punished you. I still loved you with my 6-month-old heart when I saw you again, but I didn't ever trust fully or relax fully again. Life, love could be gone in a moment. Pain, lesson learned. The abandonment wasn't just you. Jason, my first love, abandoned me when I was 10, as you did again when you left for work for a few months. I was older though. I knew why. It still hurt, but I was practiced at hiding my emotions, analyzing them, and suppressing them. The boys I chose to love could not love me, even from my very first love. Now I've had a string of Jasons, all stymied relationships. Nothing is permanent. Therefore, how can I commit to anything or anyone? They turn. I turn. No one stays. I don't stay. I try not to love those that will hurt me. I thought that started when I was a preteen, but its seed was planted long before. I just realized that boys were a new source of anguish once I could fall in love. So I set about to diffuse it, to stop myself from falling in love. Vulnerable. I am, but I hate to be, to feel it, know it. So I spent a lot of time avoiding it. I screwed up relationships from this space. I people please too. I hate it. I am better than that. I like to think I'm not a people pleaser, but at heart I am. I can't stand for people to reject me. Better to not do anything than bring that hate on me. Ugh, I hate that I still do this. Not wanting to be abandoned again. Stay safe. Please them so they won't leave me or send me away. Please, please, please. Cover up my true power, brilliance, passion, and opinions. Opinions, always worrying. Am I right? I must be right to diffuse any attack. If I am right, I can be vindicated. I don't know if I'm 100% right all the time, so it's better not to say anything. If attacked, to have to say I'm wrong, I'm sorry publicly, that is pain, catastrophe. Apologizing to individuals where no one else can see is fine. What if I think I'm still right and I'm being attacked unjustly? I fear this even more, to not be able to defend myself. Over and over when I was punished as a child, I was told, don't justify yourself. I was never allowed to speak in my own defense, frustrated, helpless, and afraid. I make it very clear that I succeeded on my own. It is in every story I tell about myself. But it's not completely true. There were many helping hands along my road, even though I felt alone, because I knew I alone was responsible for me. This is fucking with my business success because I don't commit. I don't bring my full passion to my endeavors because it could be too disappointing to fail. Part 2. Whatever else you write here in this next part, say the words, I take back my power from you. I'm done holding this against you. I am done holding myself back from love, from commitment, from family, from life, from voice, from expressing my voice. Today, I open my voice. Today, I let myself be wrong. Although I say I don't care and think I don't care about what you think, I do. I make my choice anyway, but I care. You influence, and I'm mad at you for today, for what I miss out on and suffer. You caused some serious damage that I've been trying to figure out for years. It can only be my responsibility to fix me and do the work to heal. I don't care about the past. I am done looking back, being afraid. I have a chance to heal and have a full life, and I am taking it. I do these healing exercises because a half-life will never be enough for me. I want it all the good. Wounded warriors heal and we heal fully. Even the scars can disappear, like dolphin skin, whole and without blemish. How would someone think who grew up always loved and cared for? What would their reactions be? How would they see the world? I understand who you are. I don't have to forgive you. That little baby didn't. Can I forgive you now? If it's better for me, I want to. I don't care otherwise. Mom, I take back my power from you. You have nothing to do with me. I give no extra weight to your opinions. I don't need to make you proud or punished and hurt. I am me. I own my life wholly from now on. I am my own person. I make my own decisions, and I don't try to please you anymore. Now, I put a note here. You don't feel like you must force yourself to forgive the person who hurt you. When you recognize what forgiveness is, you can actually do it without much effort. I understood long ago that forgiveness was for my benefit and had nothing to do with them. Bitterness is like acid. It corrodes the vessel that holds it, but does nothing to the target or the anger. What is the point in torturing myself? I just want to be happy. Part 3. Write down the ways you have compromised yourself because of this fear. So these are ways I compromise myself because of fear of abandonment. Pick men I can control who love me more than I love them. Refuse to market myself because of fear of rejection. Don't publicize my opinions because I fear attack. Moderate myself and my behavior to suit others' tastes and standards. Won't live in a place I really like. Why? Because that would be committing. Won't commit to a place or a community. Avoid communities and involvement. Avoid positions of leadership over others because I fear rejection. I won't do crazy, silly things. Fear of what will people think. Biggest issue is that I silence my voice in public forums where I'm not face to face because I can't control the other person's reaction or divert an attack by first feeling out my listener and adapting. Won't cut off anyone as clients or friends as I want them to like me. Always leaving myself an out in any project or relationship, which hinders my ability to see it through to success. Refusal to be honest with people for fear of rejection. I am often honest, but I still pull punches. Money. Feeling like I didn't deserve the money I was being paid, so I didn't spend or invest it well. Don't demand what I'm worth from clients or in romantic relationships because I don't want the clients or boyfriend to walk away. Dated people who disrespected me for years. Don't fire clients who don't respect my time. Did not write my memoir for years, which is done now. See, this is what can happen if you do the work. I hid the story of my upbringing. Perfectionism delays my business launch and blocks progress. Use the I didn't really want it anyway excuse to cover for being hurt or disappointed. So these are all examples of what this kind of thing can have in our life. All right. So do any of these sound familiar to you? Or do you guys experience any of these? Lexar says, yes, this works. And I now realize it's better to let things go. Yes, it's better to let things go that hurt. It's better for you. It's not for them. It's for you. You're right. Exactly. So part 4, write the list of new actions you are committing to that are the opposite of the fear-based actions. So basically, this list is the opposite of this list, okay? This list is saying, this is what I commit to now, right? So this is a healing exercise is going to actually get you to shift your behavior. It is not just to make you feel better. It makes you change. It makes you shift your behavior. That's what healing does. So this is my opposite list of things that I'm committing to do. How would I act from a place of security and peace? So this is the question I had to ask myself. I was like, how would I act? And if you can't think of how you would act, imagine somebody who grew up with that kind of life and think about how they would act, right? And just put yourself in that position and imagine that, right? And see how they would act. So how would I act from a place of complete security and peace? Pick a man I truly like, love, and admire, who is secure in himself, and choose a game-free love where we're not playing games with each other. I market with enthusiasm and purpose. I share my opinions about hot topics publicly. It's still what I'm working on, but You can see from my book, definitely come a long ways with that. I enjoy being myself regardless of the situation. I love where I live. I commit to putting down roots. I commit to developing my community and participating. There's still, some of these are still ones I'm working on, right? But I can, like, just reading this again after like a few years and seeing like what I've done and what I've created and how far I've come. It really is, it's amazing to me, right? When we can look back and when we do this and you write this journal, and then in a few years you look back and you see, wow, look how far I've come. Look how much progress I've made from that. It's really beautiful. I mean, of course, we're not perfect and we don't get it all right all the time. It's a journey, but when you commit to taking these steps and doing the healing work, you really can make progress so much faster than you think. I take and seek leadership roles and do my best to inspire people around me. I occasionally act outrageous just for fun. I speak up and out about my opinions on recorded media, trusting that many people share my views and will support me and be helped by what I share, right? So even just writing this book, this was all after I did these exercises to actually record my thoughts and what I thought and get it out there into the public. I release any client or person who doesn't serve my new commitments, even if I have to fire them. I design my goals by what I truly desire and commit to them fully and complete them. So I'm not just taking on other people's goals. I'm saying, what do I really want that I can commit to? I'm honest about myself in my relationships, my feelings, desires, and dislikes. So that's really important. Instead of hiding the ball, instead of covering things up, instead of just putting up with things until they create an explosion and I leave, right? Instead, I'm being honest with the person I'm with about what is it I really desire and want. Because I know that if they choose to leave after that, that's on them, right? I have to be true. I have to be true and honest. Money. I am worth what people pay me, and I spend and invest money well. So this is a big one that shifted when I did this. I started my own law practice. I started really getting paid good money for what I was worth. I made sure to insist on being paid. I stopped doing work for free and all this kind of baloney, right? Or letting people pay me too little. And I actually got myself set up economically. And in the last year before, I started Financial Ninjas to really research and figure out, how do we invest? How do we create that? So all of this major changes in my life happened after I did this work. I accept only full value for my time and services, and people are happy to pay it. And they were. My clients were happy to pay me for it because the value I gave them was so high. I choose to work with people who respect my time and input by showing up on time and being efficient. I easily hold them to that. I am writing and promoting my memoir. So this was before I was doing my memoir, right? But this was my commitment. I share my story fearlessly and easily where it will help. My friends stand by me and love me even if I make mistakes. I am happy and content alone, with a romantic partner, and with others. So these, when you write your affirmations of your new beliefs, write it in the way I did. So a lot of this stuff, this was not to cement these new beliefs in my brain and to check myself and say, am I acting according to this or not? It's actually a great review for me to go back and read them, right? And see, wow, I can see what progress I've made in the last few years, and also see, maybe there's a few things here I still need to work on a bit more, right? What has shifted for me? So what shifted for me after I did this? I left my job with a law firm that wasn't paying me what I was worth, and I opened my own firm. I signed my own clients who gratefully pay me 5 times what I was making before, and I know they are still getting a great deal. I left a relationship where I was not a priority. I got an agent and a book deal. I started writing my memoir and sharing my stories. I am writing this book for you, revealing some of my deepest, darkest fears and memories. I know who I am. I am centered. I do what I do from a place of purpose, not fear. I love my mother very much. Since we have both done these healing exercises, which I shared with her as well, we have a better relationship than ever. She also experienced a lot of trauma in her life and has used these tools I've given her for her own healing. She continues to declutter her mind from the false beliefs we accepted for decades and has built a new life and a successful business. So, my mother has done this too. So, it just shows you that it doesn't matter, that it's never too late. It's just never too late. We often collaborate on business projects. I admire her ability to keep going and her willingness to continue to grow as a person and challenge her own deeply embedded beliefs. All right. So it's so beautiful that I have the relationship I have today with my mother, and doing this and writing that and getting that out there, right? And she's read it now, right? I didn't send it to her at the time. It was for me to work through it. And working through it for myself really changed my relationship with her, because I stopped carrying around all this anger and bitterness inside that I didn't know I had. So I could have a better relationship with her. Alexar said, I appreciate all your hard work. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on and listening. Okay, exercise. I invite you to write a letter like this. Even if it seems silly or you think, oh, I'm already over it, just try it. Your psyche has a lot to reveal to you if you let it. Remember, healing is a change, a shift in behavior. What beliefs did your experience create that no longer serve your happiness? What actions in your life logically flow from those beliefs? What are the new empowering actions you want to take? Repeat that new list of actions to yourself every day for at least 30 days while tapping. It takes willpower to make a shift, but you can do anything for 30 days, right? So, why do you repeat the list of your affirmations, that new list, right, of those new beliefs and new ways that you're going to act and behave in the world while you tap? You do it while you tap, and do it every day for 30 days and tap. It only takes a few minutes, right? Depending on how long your list is, only take you a few minutes. Now you add a physical action like tapping to the mental process of repeating new beliefs or actions. And that helps the brain encode the new programming easier. So that's something to understand about anytime you're trying to reprogram your brain, that software in your brain. One of the reasons I include tapping while you say the new beliefs is because you're adding two elements which will help your brain encode faster, right? You're adding a physical element, a mental element, a spoken element, okay? That's how you do it. And so this is true anytime you're doing affirmations, it will help it work faster, all right? So, because I'm all about let's get the results. Let's get out there and get the job done and do it. Okay. So let's not hang around in the dungeon of pain. Let's get through it, get over it, and get on to living a happy and empowering, fulfilling life. That's what we want here, right? Okay. So that's the end of chapter 6. We did the whole chapter in one go. And it did take a little longer than usual, but I wanted to do this for you because I won't be coming on some of the YouTube and Facebook for a little while I'm in New York for the next few days. So hopefully, even if you didn't get to watch the whole thing now, you can go back and watch it in pieces over the next few days. And please try the exercise. It is just so revealing and so powerful. And if it's the only thing you do and take from this whole thing, then I think it can really be very helpful and powerful in your life. And I say that just based on my own experience. So thank you, Harshita. It was so good to see you. Thank you for all the hearts. And for everybody else that's watching, I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Have a great day, and I will see you again soon. Harshita says, amazing chapter and have a great day. Thank you. Yes, yeah, it is. It's such a powerful chapter because, there are very few people in the world, I think, who don't have this thing about people pleasing that we do. I'd say most of us do it. There are some people who don't do it, and I always look at them with admiration, right? But I think for most of us, that is one of our go-tos. So this can really be helpful in helping you to come out from hiding and to Create your own space, create the life that you want to live, and stop trying to hide and tamp yourselves down and make yourselves smaller to fit into other people's view of the world. Okay? Have a beautiful day, and I will see you soon. Bye.